The number one overall pick is not only a chance to rebuild your team, but a chance to draft a generational talent that can be the face of your franchise. Some teams luck out and they receive a pick that's MLB ready from the day they were drafted, and others end up like the Astros, who had 3 straight number one overall picks, yet only one saw consistent time in the majors. The second refused to play, and the third took nearly 10 years to reach the majors. What happened to every number one overall pick since 2010? And where are they today?
Astros would not have won the World Series without cheating.
If you don't know the facts, then you gotta
See ya! He's done it again!
Hey, if you want to call me a bust, like, I get it.
In 2010, the number one overall pick was Bryce Harper, the 7-time All-Star, NL Rookie of the Year, 2-time NL MVP, and NLCS MVP. Bryce Harper started out as the most hyped up baseball prospect of all time. He went to Las Vegas High School, and if I were to say that he quickly became a star there, that would be the understatement of the century. This was the same kid that at 15 years old hit a home run 570 feet. Harper was basically baseball Jesus at LVHS, and in May of 2009, at 16 years old, he was featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated, with the text comparing him to LeBron James by similarly calling him baseball's chosen one. After Harper's sophomore year of high school, he realized he was too good for the competition, so he got his GED and attended the College of Southern Nevada, a JUCO school, as a 16-year-old. Here, Harper faced better competition and still dominated. He had more home runs and RBIs than anyone else while using a wooden bat. This notoriety continued until draft day, when the Nationals lucked out with the chance at possibly one of the easiest number one overall selections in baseball history. After 2 years in the minor leagues, he made his MLB debut with the Nationals in 2012 at 19 years old. To put it into perspective, in 2012, Bryce Harper was nearly 10 years younger than the average MLB player. And despite that, during his rookie season, he made an All-Star game, becoming the second youngest player to ever make it there. At this point, Bryce was a rookie and already considered a bona fide star. He played the game harder than any player in the league. This, along with his cocky attitude, made him an easy target. He was hated by players, coaches, and fans. This was on prime display when in his rookie season, Cole Hamels purposely hit him without ever meeting him before. Hamels, when asked about the situation, said, "I was trying to hit him. I'm not going to deny it." I think, unfortunately, the league's protecting certain players and making it not that old school prestigious way of baseball. And, in classic Bryce Harper fashion, after getting plunked by Hamels, he proceeded to steal home. Harper didn't let the hate affect him as he won the National League Rookie of the Year award. The next 2 seasons were up and down for Harper. He battled injuries and didn't play over 120 games in either season. But 2015 was when Harper took over the baseball world. He was tied for the National League home run champion with 42 home runs, while leading baseball in on-base percentage and slugging percentage. He was named the NL MVP by a unanimous decision at 22 years old. He was one of the youngest MLB players to ever win the award. Even though he won MVP, everyone still hated him. He constantly got into fights with opponents and even his own teammate. Harper's numbers declined from video game numbers to still well above average in the next few seasons. He was voted as the most overrated player in baseball 4 times, but Bryce seeked to prove everyone wrong, as he'd be moving to a new team during the 2018 offseason. There were many teams interested in Bryce Harper. But one team stood out. As a free agent, Harper signed a 13-year, $330 million contract with the Phillies, the richest contract in the history of North American sports at the time. His first season with the Phillies, Harper declined yet again, and things did not look good for the Phillies' future with this contract. Fans across baseball continued to hate him and called him overrated. In 2021, Bryce returned to form, leading the league in OPS and winning the NL MVP. The next season, he helped lead the Phillies to their first postseason appearance in 11 years and produced some of the clutchest hits in Phillies history.
2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive. Left field. It's deep. It's going. And it is gone. Yes. It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top. Are you kidding me?
Harper throughout his career has been able to put the pressure of the big moment aside and produce for his team.
I dropped out of high school at 16. I got my GED, went into JUCO, and it was like, I have to be the number 1 pick. That's the pressure, right? That was the pressure. I have to be the number 1 pick. I have to be the number 1 pick. I have to go in there. If I'm not, I'm a failure. I'm the failure. You know, I have to be able to get my family out. And that was the pressure. Now all this is cake. This is what it's all about. This is the fun part of that.
The big moment is what's fun for Bryce, and the pressure of his career is over. Harper's talent and terrific mindset has helped him live up to the status of one of the most hyped up prospects of all time. The top 2 names in the 2011 MLB draft were Trevor Bauer and Garrett Cole. Yet the crazy thing is, these 2 players have one of the most notorious rivalries in baseball. Bauer is one of the most controversial players for a multitude of reasons, and Garrett Cole was possibly one of the first people to see Trevor Bauer in a bad light. Spending 3 years together at UCLA, they got to know each other, and they were by no means a friendly duo. Bauer had a very unorthodox training method that he started from a young age when he couldn't break the 80-mile-an-hour mark. Garrett Cole was considered the team leader at UCLA, and Bauer was considered an outcast. This mostly related to Bauer not working with the team and focusing on his unordinary training method that did not involve lifting weights like most of the other players. UCLA's coach let him continue this training method as long as he pitched well. Garrett Cole did not like this because he was the best pitcher on the team and did not like the special treatment that Bauer got. Cole's time at UCLA was filled with stellar performances, leading to his selection at the number 1 overall pick in the 2011 draft by the Pittsburgh Pirates. As for his former teammate and rival, Trevor Bauer, he went 3rd overall to the Diamondbacks. Quickly after the 2012 season, Bauer was moved to the Guardians. Then, after the 2017 season, Cole was moved to the Astros. It was around this time where both pitchers were nearing their prime. In 2018, Cole finished 5th in Cy Young voting, and Bauer finished 6th. Then, in 2019, Cole finished 2nd in Cy Young voting, with Justin Verlander barely robbing him, earning his 2nd of 3 career Cy Young awards. That season, Bauer wasn't a Cy Young contender, with an ERA plus barely above league average. Then, when the 2020 shortened season rolled around, Bauer returned to form, while Garrett Cole was flexing his consistency in a new ballpark for the Yankees. Cole finished the season 4th in Cy Young voting, proving himself as a consistent star pitcher. But this season was the best season of Bauer's career, posting an absolutely jaw-dropping 2.84 ERA+, which is 2nd all-time post-integration with at least 50 innings pitched. He also had a 7.95 whip, which is 3rd all-time post-integration. And of course, he won the NL Cy Young Award. Now, the sample size in the 2020 season is admittedly smaller, but these numbers are still absolutely insane. What is more interesting about this 2020 season is the scandal involving all pitchers across baseball. Trevor Bauer and Garrett Cole were both flooding the media when the sticky stuff was on full display. Now, this didn't just start in 2020. Bauer had been vocal about this as early as 2018 when he made a joke about it on Twitter. But in the 2020 season, Bauer realized that MLB was not enforcing the rules around sticky substances and made his own concoction, raising his pitch's spin rates to some of the highest in MLB. Cole, at the time, was radio silent.
And have you ever used spider tap while pitching?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
But when MLB started to crack down on the sticky substances, both players' spin rates dropped significantly, as did spin rates across the league. This did not faze Cole, as he finished 2nd in Cy Young voting that year. And as for Bauer, He wasn't even in consideration, and during the offseason, got into more drama, being handed the longest suspension in MLB history. I'm not going to get into the drama in this video, especially because this section was meant to be about Garrett Cole, but it's hard to go over his history without mentioning Bauer. This would mark the end of their rivalry, as Bauer was out of the league and Cole was again proving his consistency and was still dominating. In 2022, Cole had another great year, leading baseball in strikeouts. Then, in 2023, Cole led MLB in innings pitched and ERA+. He finally got the Cy Young Award that he was barely snubbed of twice during his career. Over the last decade, Cole has been one of the best pitchers in baseball, and was no doubt the best pitcher in his draft class, which was a draft class loaded with pitching talent. But the next draft class was the year of hitters. In 2012, the Astros had the first overall pick. The top player in the 2012 draft was between Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton. The Astros also viewed pitcher Mark Appel as a possible option due to the team's lack of pitching in the farm system. After hard consideration, they made Carlos Correa the #1 overall pick. Correa in the Puerto Rico Baseball Academy played lights-out defense, hit for power to all parts of the field, and had very little flaws in his game. With all this raw talent playing shortstop at 6'4", many scouts and analysts compared Correa to Alex Rodriguez. This left big shoes for him to fill, but Correa dominated throughout the minors and was the Astros' top prospect. In 2014, he took a hard slide into a base and fractured his fibula. This seemed like it could be a career-altering injury, though Correa was able to get it repaired by installing a plate into his leg. This surgery was great in the short term, as it was able to get Correa back to the field relatively quick, but in the long term, this injury could end up costing Correa tons of money. By 2015, the Astros were ready to call up Correa at only 20 years old. In his first year in the big leagues, he lived up to the hype, hitting 22 home runs with a 135 OPS+, to winning the American League Rookie of the Year. Correa was a huge part of the Astros team that snapped a 10-year playoff drought and made their first playoff appearance since they moved to the American League. He followed up this season with a similar year in 2016, but in 2017, Correa and the Astros put it all together. Correa reduced his strikeout rate significantly in 2017, and as a result, improved his on-base percentage 30 points. This was maybe the best year of his career, as he hit .315 with 24 home runs and was selected to his first career All-Star game. The Astros built a special young core with Altuve, Bregman, Springer, and Correa. All four had career seasons and helped the Astros have the best offense in baseball, en route to winning 101 games. The Astros went into the playoffs red hot, beating the Red Sox in the ALDS. Then, in the ALCS, the Astros took down the Yankees in 7 games. In this series, the Astros dominated at home, winning all 4 games, despite losing all 3 road games. The Astros squared off against the Dodgers in one of the most star-studded World Series of all time. The series went back and forth and was tied 2-2 heading into Game 5. With the series on the line, the Astros won a thriller, 13-12 in 10 innings, thanks to an Alex Bregman walk-off single. Correa stepped up big in this game, going 3 for 5 with a double, a homer, and 3 RBIs. The Astros fell 3-1 in Game 6, but ultimately got the job done in Game 7, winning 5-1 and clinching the World Series. At this time, Correa and the Astros were admired across baseball. But the Astros had a secret to their success, something that nobody else knew about until 2 years later. Throughout this season, the Astros stole their opponent's signs using cameras and relayed them to the batter using methods such as banging trash cans.
They would look at the TV monitor and then be able to see the signs of the catcher and then have some type of audible sound or like a bang on something to relay that to the hitter on what type of pitch was coming.
When this was discovered, it began one of the biggest scandals in sports history. The Astros coaches and GMs were fired, but all players received immunity. This decision caused backlash from the media and players across the league. One player that was outspoken about the Astros cheating scandal was Dodgers star Cody Bellinger.
They've been cheating for 3 years, so do you think they cheated in 18 and 19?
I mean, 100%. I don't know why they would stop. Do whatever, but like, man, they got something going on in Houston. Like, these guys are a different team at home.
Correa responded to Bellinger in a way that caused even more turmoil between the two.
So when he talks about that we cheated for 3 years, I mean, he either doesn't know how to read, is really bad at reading comprehension, or is just not informed at all. You should get informed. You should be informed before you talk about other players. If you don't know the facts, then you gotta chill.
Correa had begun a beef with Bellinger and the Dodgers, and when they played in 2020, things got ugly.
That's just what he did, and he got a swing and a miss from Correa to get out of the inning. Oh, Joe Kelly. All right, so the benches have cleared.
I think that the word cheater has been used at least a dozen times.
Since the sign stealing scandal, Correa's numbers have dropped. He was one of the most hated players in MLB, and it looked like his career was on a fast decline. Until 2021, Correa regained his old form and had an amazing comeback season. He hit a career-high 26 home runs. He led all of MLB with 20 defensive runs saved while winning his first career Gold Glove and finishing 5th in MVP voting. He helped lead the Astros to the World Series yet again, unfortunately losing to the Braves in 6 games. This season for Correa made him the hottest name going into free agency. Surprisingly, he took a smaller 3-year deal with the Minnesota Twins for $105.3 million. The market was not as interested as Correa expected, so he took this deal as a prove-it deal, where he had the option to opt out after each of the first 2 seasons and to retest the free agency market. In the first year of his deal with Minnesota, he was putting up a 131 OPS plus while continuing his elite defense, being ranked 12th in defensive runs saved. This was just the season Correa needed, as he decided to opt out of his 3-year contract and test the market again. This time, the free agency market was far more lucrative for Correa. He was able to work out a deal with the Giants for $300 million. For a week, Giants fans celebrated signing Correa. They were about to have his introductory press conference to make everything official, but then, out of nowhere, it was canceled. A few hours later, it was revealed that there was a problem with Correa's physical, and the Giants decided to back out of the contract. Right after this, news broke that the Mets swooped in and agreed to a deal to sign Correa for 12 years, $350 million. So now, Correa is with the New York Mets? Or is he? The Mets discovered in their physical some issues with Correa's health that made them back out of the deal as well. Why is this happening? Well, remember that plate Correa got in his leg back in 2014 after breaking his fibula? This plate concerned both the Giants and Mets medical staff, as they believed the movement of it can cause chronic issues for years to come, and it's a major risk to give a 12 or 13-year contract to someone with a surgically repaired fibula. The news was out now, and Correa's value decreased tremendously across the league. Correa ultimately decided to re-sign with the Twins for a 6-year, $200 million deal. This was 6 years and $100 million less than was expected for him. It was still a great deal, but a huge disappointment and a fall from initial expectations. In the first year of his new contract with the Twins, Correa remained relatively healthy, but his performance hit a sharp decline as he had the second lowest OPS in his career and was a negatively graded fielder. Correa's career had many ups and downs. He went from the most loved player in the game to one of the most hated, and went from one of the biggest contracts in baseball history to almost losing it all. Correa, at 29, still has potential for a few more great years, and in his prime, he lived up to the expectations. The Astros held the number 1 overall pick again in 2013, and they had a tough decision to make. Mark Appel was the consensus number 1 player in the draft at the time. However, the year before, Appel entered the 2012 MLB draft where the Astros almost took him over Carlos Correa. The Astros were torn between Correa and Appel, but the decision was made easy for them when Appel and his agent Scott Boras told them that he would not sign with a team unless he got a $6 million signing bonus. Appel's reluctance to sign made him fall to the 8th overall pick, where he only got a $3.5 million signing bonus. Knowing his value, he returned to college for his senior year. In this season, Appel dominated and boosted draft stock even more. The 2013 MLB draft was loaded with talent. Aaron Judge, Chris Bryant, and Cody Bellinger were all future MVPs in this draft class. But at the time, the prospect that stood out above all of them was Mark Appel. The Astros, after passing on Appel the previous year, decided they couldn't do it again, and they took Appel first overall. Now, with no college eligibility left, Appel and his stingy agent had to agree to terms, and they did, for a $6.35 million signing bonus with the Astros. Appel struggled throughout his minor league career. He bounced around all levels of the Astros farm system, never putting together a season with an ERA under 3.79. Appel made it as high as AAA, and despite not having a ton of success, he was on the verge of getting called up. By 2015, the Astros were a playoff team and were ready to make their push. Their team desperately needed bullpen help, so they traded Appel to the Phillies in a deal for Ken Giles. In Appel's first year in the Phillies farm system, he had surgery on his elbow and did not pitch a single inning. The next year, Appel played for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs in the AAA affiliate for the Phillies, and he was awful, posting a 5.56 ERA and walking almost as many batters as he struck out. A common criticism of Appel was his ability to be a starting pitcher with only 3 pitches. Appel never seemed to develop any more pitches, and neither organization attempted to move him to the bullpen. He also dealt with shoulder injuries off and on, and the more innings he pitched, the worse it got. After this season, the Phillies designated him for assignment, and after that, in 2017, at just the age of 26, he retired from baseball without ever making an MLB debut. Appel became one of 4 MLB number 1 overall picks to not reach the majors, joining Steve Chilcott, Brian Taylor, and another player that we'll talk about later. After almost 4 years away from baseball, Appel made a comeback in 2021. The Phillies picked up the rights to Appel, and he bounced around from AA to AAA. Appel's comeback started awful in 2021. He was terrible, posting an ERA of 6.06. The comeback looked like it might not amount to anything, and the thought of getting released was a strong possibility. Although, the Phillies decided to give Appel one more shot, and this time, it was a little different. For the first time in his career, the Phillies moved him into the bullpen. Even Appel himself had no expectations for this new role.
At this point, there's no expectations. Anything could happen. The likeliest outcome is that I just play in AAA all year. I have a good time, try to, be a part of a team that maybe win some games and then probably move on with my life.
But this change to the bullpen was the perfect move to save his career. Appel had the best year of his professional career. He reduced his walks while increasing strikeouts and had his career best 3.15 ERA. Late in the season, the Iron Pigs and Appel lost a close game, and their team manager addressed the team's lackluster performance.
He's like, guys, if you guys don't show up every day to play, show up prepared, all this stuff, we're just going to keep losing games like this, and that's not acceptable. And not only that, but you're never going to go to the big leagues. And then he kind of pauses and he goes, that's exactly what this guy's done all year. And he looks at me, and I had chills. He's like, Mark, you're going to the big leagues.
He finally reached his goal to make it to the majors. Appel appeared in 6 games in 2022, pitching 10 innings and allowing only 2 runs. Before the 2023 season, Appel wrote on his website, I'm a 31-year-old rookie relief pitcher with only 6 MLB appearances to my name. I'm not on the 40-man roster. I'm on the fringe of the depth charts. I'm a career 5+ minor league ERA pitcher with a long history of injuries. I know how fragile a pitcher's health and career can be. And because of a flooded free agent market, I likely won't get a chance to play baseball in 2024 unless I play well this year. All logic suggests the odds are not in my favor. Unfortunately, Appel saw the writing on the wall and was released in spring training of this season. I was never picked up by a team. He went through a roller coaster career, from first overall pick with huge expectations to many serious injuries and out of baseball at 26, to now finally getting his long-awaited call-up in 2022 at age 30, and then being out of baseball again at 31.
Hey, if you want to call me a bust, like, I get it. I haven't lived up to what the expectation was when I was first drafted, but that's okay. The story doesn't have to end there.
The story doesn't have to end there. For Appel and all the players in this video, each can define their success in their own way. No matter if they lived up to the hype or not, being able to enjoy baseball and achieve goals in life is what matters, especially over the expectations that fans create.
If I have an opportunity to play again, I think I would really enjoy that. Not because I'm trying to be Mark, the first overall pick, but because I'm just Mark, and I actually enjoy playing baseball.
The Astros had their third straight number 1 overall pick in 2014. The early first round was loaded with talented college hitters such as Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, and Michael Conforto. However, the pitching prospects at the top of this draft were even better, with future All-Stars Carlos Rodon and Aaron Nola. But one pitching prospect was viewed as better than both of them at the time, high schooler Brady Aiken. Aiken was a talented lefty who threw in the mid-90s. He had a dominant changeup and curveball, and was extremely accurate. He profiled very similar to Carlos Rodon, but the key difference was Aiken was 4 years younger and already more accurate. The Astros had a tough choice, but ultimately, they thought Aiken had the best potential and selected him first overall. It looked like Aiken would have a promising career ahead of him, although his post-draft MRI revealed major concerns in his throwing elbow. MLB extended the Astros' negotiating period with Aiken, and the two sides went back and forth, with the Astros giving him less money than they gave their previous number 1 pick, Mark Appel. Both sides never agreed to a deal, and the Astros got the number 2 pick in the 2015 draft as compensation instead. Aiken then decided to go to IMG Academy in the post-high school graduate program to train and get drafted next season. In Aiken's first start at IMG Academy, he hurt his elbow and had to undergo Tommy John surgery. Despite the setback, he still declared for the 2015 draft, instead of pursuing a college career. Due to the injury, the hype around Aiken had fizzled out, and he fell in this draft to the Cleveland Guardians at 17th overall. After missing his first year of professional baseball, Aiken came back into the 2016 season as the 71st prospect in baseball. In rookie and lower A ball, Aiken posted a 5.83 ERA and did not look like the same prospect post-injury. The next year was not much better for him, as he had a 4.77 ERA and completely lost his command, walking 101 batters to only 89 strikeouts. In addition, Aiken's fastball dropped into the mid-80 mile-an-hour range, which would not cut it at this level. The Guardians decided that he needed time off, and in 2018, he spent the whole season training at their complex and did not play any minor league games. In 2019, Aiken returned to the field, but it was a mess, and he was only able to record 2 outs in 2 relief appearances before getting shut down again. The Guardians sent him to a program to train and regain his velocity instead of playing in games for the rest of the year. Shortly after this, Aiken decided to step away from baseball at just 22. In 2020, there was no baseball due to the pandemic, and then, going into 2021, Aiken tried working out again, but was now dealing with a shoulder injury too. The Guardians released him before he got to appear in any games in 2021, and it appears his baseball career is over. Looking back, drafting Aiken first overall may have been a big mistake, but it was a blessing in disguise for the Astros, because the second overall pick in the next year's draft ended up being Alex Bregman. Bregman has been a perennial all-star and a part of the Astros' core to win 2 World Series. The first pick in the 2015 draft was shortstop Dansby Swanson to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Swanson was the best player on a Vanderbilt team that went to back-to-back College World Series championship games. Swanson in college was best known for his defense, but he was also the star of their offense, hitting .335 with 15 home runs during his junior year. Swanson looked like a complete prospect ranked number 8 in baseball going into his first year in the Diamondbacks system. In 2016, the Diamondbacks thought that they were competitive and they needed pitching help. So they traded their number 1 overall pick, Swanson, before his first full season in the minors to his hometown, Atlanta, in exchange for Shelby Miller. Miller was coming off a breakout season where he had a career-low ERA of 3.02, a 3.45 FIP, and was an all-star. Weirdly, during this season, Miller was 6-17, leading all of MLB in losses, but all of his other stats were great, which shows why win-loss record is a dumb stat, but that's for another video. Miller was only 24, and this season looked like it was the start of a great career for him. However, Miller battled injuries on and off throughout his career in Arizona and was never close to the same player until 2023 when he joined the Dodgers. The Braves easily won this trade, acquiring Swanson, who came in and was immediately a key piece to their young core. Swanson quickly moved through the Braves minor league system in 1 year, and by the end of 2016, the Braves traded their starting shortstop, Eric Ibar, to open a starting position for Swanson. Swanson took this spot and had a great 38-game stretch to end the season where he had a respectable 803 OPS and played solid defense. In 2017, Swanson went into the year as the Braves' starting shortstop. Quickly into the season, the Braves called up Ozzie Albies and Johan Camargo, who both played middle infield. Swanson was the odd man out, as he was hitting an abysmal 185 by the end of May and had 11 errors. Swanson eventually lost his starting spot for Camargo, and he was sent down to AAA in July. Swanson in AAA continued to struggle and did not look MLB ready at all. At this point, some fans were worried that Swanson might be a bust. Fortunately for Swanson, he got another opportunity when Camargo got hurt in August. The Braves called him back up, and this time, everything clicked. Swanson hit .337 with a .434 on-base percentage to end the year. This boosted Swanson's season numbers way up from their abysmal status to start the year. In 2018, Swanson earned back the starting shortstop role. He battled injuries on and off this year and had a good, not great season at 24. In 2019 and 2020, Swanson continued to improve each year. He saw his on-base percentage and home run rate go up each season, while decreasing his strikeout rate. 2020 was the first year where Swanson had an above-league average OPS plus. And in 2020, the Braves were 1 game away from the World Series. Facing the Dodgers in Game 7 in the NLCS, Swanson made a crucial base running mistake in the 4th inning, costing the Braves a run. This ended up being the moment Braves fans looked back at this game as they lost 4-3 and fell 1 game short of the World Series. Swanson was pissed at himself, so going into 2021, he had one thing on his mind: win it all. 2021, Swanson had another great year, hitting a career-high 27 home runs. The Braves went into the postseason on a mission. They handled the Brewers in the NLDS and then met up for a rematch with the Dodgers in the NLCS. Swanson and the Braves got revenge on the Dodgers and defeated them in 6 games to go to the World Series. In the World Series, Swanson was a part of some key moments to help win.
Win tonight, and that's why I think you're seeing. Here's one into right. Back at the wall, the game is tied. Home run, Swanson. Left side, Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions.
Swanson and the Braves were on top of the baseball world. He took this success and carried it into a contract year where he played even better, boasting a career-best 114 OPS plus, winning his first career Gold Glove and being named an All-Star. Despite a disappointing loss to the Phillies in the first round of the playoffs, Swanson entered the offseason ready to get paid. The Cubs gave him a 7-year, $177 million deal, and it seemed like the perfect move at the time for him. In 1 season with the Cubs, Swanson picked up exactly where he left off in Atlanta, and was an All-Star and won another Gold Glove. At 29, Swanson enters the prime of his career, and with the Cubs on the rise, his future looks bright. The number 1 pick return for the Diamondbacks may not have been great, but thankfully Swanson was able to make a great career after the Diamondbacks' mistake. The 2016 MLB draft might be the worst draft class covered in this video. The Phillies possessed the number 1 overall pick, and it was reported that they were considering Corey Ray, AJ Puck, Kyle Lewis, Jason Groom, Riley Pint, and Mickey Moniak. The Phillies at the time were coming off a 63 and 99 season and had no big prospects at this point. Their goal was to draft whoever they viewed has the most potential. On paper, that was high schooler Mickey Moniak. At La Costa Canyon High School in San Diego, Moniak, as a senior, batted .476 with a .961 slugging percentage. He broke the San Diego record for triples, was Baseball America's High School Player of the Year, and looked like he could be a 5-tool MLB player. The Phillies were sold on his potential and selected him at number 1 overall. Moniak at 18 joined the Phillies and looked really promising in rookie ball with a .284 batting average and a .409 slugging percentage. After his initial season in rookie ball, Moniak ranked as the 19th best prospect in baseball. This was 7 spots higher than anyone else in his draft class, once again showing how weak this class was. Moniak spent the 2017 and 18 seasons in Single A, where he was up and down at the plate, but flashed great potential. In 2019, Moniak climbed up to Double A, where he was decent but not great, hitting for a .741 OPS and stealing 15 bags. In 2020, there was no minor league season, but with extended MLB rosters, Moniak played in 8 games for the Phillies, recording 3 hits, but not showing much impact at all. Moniak in 2021 hit 3 for 33 in MLB, and as a result was sent down by the Phillies and spent most of the season in AAA. It appeared Moniak was still not MLB ready and needed to really improve to make impact at an MLB level. The 2022 offseason was huge for Moniak. He focused on his strength and went into spring training red hot. In spring training, Moniak went 14 for 37 with 6 home runs and 11 RBIs. He finally showed the potential that made him go number 1 overall, and as a result, the Phillies put him on their opening day roster. Unfortunately, Moniak fractured his hands towards the end of spring training, and as a result, missed the first 3 weeks of the season. Moniak lost his hot streak after an injury and hit .130 through 18 games. The Phillies were playing great at this time and already had a super crowded outfield. Sadly, they did not have time to wait around for Moniak and needed pitching help for the postseason. They traded Moniak to the Angels for Noah Syndergaard. The Phillies went on to make the World Series, but Syndergaard didn't contribute much and left during free agency. Moniak the rest of the year played in LA and only played 19 games as he dealt with multiple unrelated injuries. In 2023, Moniak began his season in AAA and took a huge leap. In 33 games in AAA, Moniak had a .939 OPS with 8 home runs. The Angels quickly called him up, where he got an opportunity to start. He hit 14 home runs with a .113 OPS plus and was a positive defender. Moniak played 85 games this year, but the rest he missed with various injuries. Moniak is only 25 years old and has shown some serious flashes when healthy. Moniak might not be one of the best number 1 overall picks ever, but considering his draft class and the promise he's shown afterwards, he is by no means a bust. But the next pick, fans across baseball were ready to call a bust before he even made it to the majors. The 2017 draft had way more top-end talent than the 2016 draft. The consensus number 1 pick was Hunter Green, a high school two-way player who could throw 105 and also had serious power. The Twins shocked everyone when they passed on Hunter Green and selected shortstop Royce Lewis with the number 1 overall pick. Lewis was a 5-tool player in high school, as in his senior year, he hit .377 with 4 home runs and 25 stolen bases, while being named California Gatorade Baseball Player of the Year. At 18, Lewis joined the Twins organization, and he showed serious potential in his first 2 years in the minor leagues, hitting 18 homers and stealing 48 bases over 175 games in his first 2 years. But when called up to Double A in 2019, Lewis struggled at the plate, and uncharacteristically, his strikeout rate went from 16% to 22%. In 2020, Lewis was only 21 and not MLB ready, so with no minor league season that year, he missed a whole year of development time. Minor League Baseball returned in 2021, and Lewis was eager to play well, and get a promotion to the big leagues. However, he tore his ACL before spring training started and missed the whole 2021 season. After not playing in 2 full years, Lewis returned in 2022 and played 34 games in AAA. Over this span, Lewis had a .941 OPS. He also played third base, second base, and outfield, in addition to shortstop, which gave the Twins flexibility to use him wherever they wanted. The Twins decided to call him up to fill in for their hurt Miguel Sano at third base, and instantly, he made an impact. Through his first 12 games, Lewis hit .300 with a .141 OPS plus. Sano came back and Lewis was sent down. This didn't last long, as Lewis tore it up in AAA and Miguel Sano was awful in the majors. The Twins called him back up, and in his first game, Lewis made an awesome catch at the wall, and unfortunately, tore his ACL again and missed the remainder of the 2022 season. Lewis returned in 2023, starting off the year in the minors. Lewis was phenomenal in the minor leagues, hitting .353 with an 1169 OPS. After only 14 games, he was called up to the majors, and last season, Lewis was great. He hit 15 homers in only 58 games, while posting a super impressive 150 OPS plus. To end the season, Lewis was the hottest hitter on the Twins. Lewis even broke some records in the process. He had 4 Grand Slams this year, which set a Twins franchise record. These 4 Grand Slams came in just around 20 games, which is the shortest span to record 4 Grand Slams ever. The Twins won the AL Central and went into the playoffs looking to snap an 18-game losing streak that spanned 19 years. In Game 1 of the Wild Card Series, Lewis put the Twins on his back to help them end the longest postseason losing streak in sports history.
Does not go. And now when he's drilled deep to left field, going back for show, turning, looking, see ya!
Opening inning, swinging a fly ball, right center field deep, Springer back, he will turn, back it goes, gone! Unbelievable! Royce Lewis, welcome to October baseball, 2 at-bats, 2 home runs, this kid is amazing!
I cried twice, both times when Royce Lewis hit a home run.
In this game, Lewis was 2 for 3 with 2 home runs and all 3 of the Twins' RBIs. The Twins broke the infamous streak and went on to win the series 2-0. Lewis will always be remembered in Minnesota for this moment. At only 24 years old, Lewis looks to be a future star, and he hopes to next snap the 31-year World Series drought in Minnesota. The 2018 MLB Draft was loaded with hitters such as Alec Boehm, Jared Kelenic, Joey Bart, and Kyler Murray. The Tigers possessed the #1 overall pick, and their primary focus was adding pitching. The best pitching prospect in this draft was by far right-handed pitcher from Auburn, Casey Mize. The Tigers selected Mize, making him their second #1 pick in franchise history. At Auburn, Mize was a stud, and he struck out 156 batters in 17 starts during his senior year, and even tossed a no-hitter against Northeastern. Mize, going into MLB, possessed a 4-pitch mix with a fastball, cutter, slider, and splitter. Scouts had some concerns about Mize and his injury history in college, and believed that his mechanics might need fixing in order to avoid future injuries. Mize pitched in 5 games in his first year in the Tigers organization, before being shut down due to an innings limit. In 2019, Mize dominated single-A and triple-A competition. He had a 2.55 ERA and struck out 106 batters in 109 innings. Mize, at this point, decided to add a curveball, which added more value to his pitch arsenal. In 2020, Mize got called up to the majors, but this was a very inconsistent year. Mize had 1 game, he took a no-hitter into the 6th inning, and another where he allowed 6 runs in under 5 innings. In 2021, Mize earned a role as a full-time member of the Tigers' starting rotation. Again, this season, Mize was very inconsistent, but showed promise to be at the top of the Tigers' rotation. Mize, over the course of 30 starts, posted a 7-9 record and a 3.71 ERA. The inconsistencies in Mize's mechanics were a huge concern, and it was believed it could lead to long-term injuries. One of the greatest pitchers in MLB history, Pedro Martinez, expressed his concern for this kid.
If the Detroit Tigers don't emphasize a lot on his mechanics, with that kind of pitch, a split finger, you probably be looking at a guy that's going to get hurt. He's going to be exposing that elbow a lot. And what's going to happen is he's going to hurt his elbow, and Tommy John will foul.
And Pedro was right. After just 2 starts in 2022, Mize hurt his elbow and got Tommy John surgery. Mize didn't pitch all of 2023 either, and his future is currently uncertain. Going forward, the Tigers have to consider moving him to the bullpen or changing his mechanics to avoid further injury for their former number 1 overall pick. The 2019 MLB draft is one of the best since 2010. The early first round consisted of many can't-miss prospects such as Josh Jung, Andrew Vaughn, and Bobby Witt Jr. But these guys weren't even close to as talented as Adley Rutschman. The Orioles selected Rutschman at first overall. To say Rutschman was a freak athlete would be an understatement. Rutschman was a 2-sport athlete at Oregon State, playing both football and baseball. On the football field, Rutschman was the team's starting kicker his freshman year, and even tackled Christian McCaffrey. That's a crazy crossover event. On the baseball field, Rutschman was a once-in-a-generation talent. He was a switch-hitting catcher who was maybe the most feared hitter in college baseball history. As a sophomore in 2018, he batted .408 with a .505 on-base percentage. He had 9 home runs and 83 RBIs. This season, he led Oregon State to win the 2018 College World Series. In this series, Rutschman had 17 hits, which was a College World Series record, and 13 RBIs in the series. And of course, this meant he was named College World Series Most Outstanding Player. In his junior season, he somehow improved, batting .411 with a .575 on-base percentage, 17 home runs, and 58 RBIs. Rutschman was so feared at the plate that he got intentionally walked with the bases loaded in a 3-run game. Rutschman joined the Orioles in 2019, where he played rookie ball and continued to be a solid defensive catcher and on-base machine. In 2020, Rutschman didn't play at all, and in 2021, he returned, ready to make a huge leap through the Orioles organization. In 2021, playing in AA and AAA, he had an .899 OPS with 23 home runs. Going into 2022, Rutschman was the number 1 prospect in baseball, and everyone knew that very quickly into the season, the Orioles would call him up. Rutschman was called up in May and had a great season for the Orioles, where he had a .131 OPS plus and was second in Rookie of the Year voting. The Orioles won 83 games this year, 31 more than the previous year. With a great young core led by their franchise star going into 2023, they had a chance to be one of the best teams in baseball. On opening day in 2023, Rutschman was the first player since 1937 to hit 5 for 5 with a home run. Rutschman finished the season with a .121 OPS plus, 20 home runs, 80 RBIs, and his expected stats indicate that he was one of the most unlucky hitters of that season, despite already having an amazing season. Rutschman was an all-star, won a Silver Slugger, and was named to the All-MLB First Team in just his second year. Best of all, the Orioles won 101 games, the most in all of baseball. With more top prospects on the way, the Orioles look to be one of the best teams in baseball for years to come. Rutschman will be the leader of the team, and without a doubt, he was an amazing draft pick. The 2020 draft class was loaded with talent. Scouts knew there were tons of high-end prospects in the draft, but virtual meetings and drafts definitely altered the full scouting process. By the time of the draft, the consensus number 1 overall pick was Spencer Torkelson, a corner infielder from Arizona State. The Tigers made him their second first overall pick in the last 2 years. As a freshman at Arizona State, Torkelson batted .320 with 25 home runs and 53 RBIs over 55 games. His 25 home runs led the NCAA, set a Pac-12 conference record for a freshman, and, craziest of all, broke Barry Bonds' school record for most home runs by a freshman. He followed up this historic freshman season by producing an equally as impressive season in 2019, where he hit .351 with 23 homers. His junior year was cut short, but in what was essentially only 2 full seasons at Arizona State, he was just 3 home runs shy of the school's record. He had more home runs at Arizona State than Reggie Jackson and Barry Bonds did, with each of them playing 3 full years there. For reference, Bonds and Jackson are 1st and 14th all-time in home runs. So in short, Torkelson was a can't-miss draft pick. Torkelson moved quickly through the Tigers minor league system. In his first year in the organization, he went from single-A to triple-A and hit 30 total home runs. Then, in 2022, after just 35 games, he got called up to the majors. During his rookie season, Torkelson struggled to keep up with MLB pitching. He had a .604 OPS and struck out a ton, and only hit 8 homers. Year 2 was a lot better for him. Despite striking out at a very high rate, leading his K numbers to 14th most in MLB, he was able to slug 31 home runs and 94 RBIs. Torkelson is only 24, and going forward, he has the potential to be one of the best power hitters in all of baseball. The 2021 draft class was weaker than the previous year. This year, the Pirates possessed the number 1 overall pick, and they selected catcher Henry Davis from Louisville. Davis was not on the radar to be the number 1 overall pick until his junior season, where he hit .370 with 15 home runs and 48 RBIs. Davis is best known for his great plate discipline and having a cannon behind the plate. Once he joined the Pirates organization, they began experimenting with him as an outfielder since they already had one of the top catching prospects in baseball, Endy Rodriguez. Davis, in his first full minor league season in 2022, was an on-base machine and had an impressive .380 on-base percentage. If you thought that was a great on-base percentage, 2023 was even better. In 2023, he had a .454 on-base percentage, and after 55 games in the minors, the Pirates were ready to bring him to the big leagues at only 23 years old. Since getting called up, Davis has been the primary right fielder. He wasn't great at the plate, in an admittedly small 62-game sample size. Over this span, he had a .653 OPS and 7 home runs. However, a bright spot for Davis was his defense. He adjusted well to playing right field and ranked in the 98th percentile in arm strength. If Davis going forward can add more power to his game, he can be an all-star level player. At only 24, the future for Davis with the Pirates is still very bright. The 2 most recent number 1 overall picks have less to talk about as neither have debuted in the majors yet. In 2022, the Orioles possessed the top pick. Their choice was not hard as they took the top prospect in the draft, Jackson Holliday, son of Matt Holliday. And Jackson Holliday might be even better than his dad. Holliday is a middle infielder with great defensive skills, speed, and is a naturally gifted left-handed hitter. During his senior year in high school, he hit a jaw-dropping .685 and recorded 89 hits, which is a national record. When he arrived in the Orioles organization, he continued his dominance through 125 games last year. Combining his stats from the different minor league levels, he hit .323 with 12 home runs and a .941 OPS. As of the recording of this video, he's the number 1 prospect in all of baseball and is projected to get called up as soon as this coming season. At only 20 years old, Holliday looks like he can be a part of the Orioles' elite young core. The 2023 draft was the year of LSU stars. The top pick was between LSU's Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. Both were coming off a dominant national championship season and looked like can't-miss prospects. The Pirates ultimately needed pitching help and viewed Skeens as a better option. Skeens started his college career with the Air Force Falcons, where he was good but didn't catch many scouts' eyes. In 2022, he transferred to LSU and had one of the most dominating pitching seasons ever. Skeens improved his velocity and was able to reach 100 miles an hour effortlessly. In just one game, he threw 46 100+ mile an hour fastballs, which has only been done once in MLB history by Hunter Green. In his junior year, he went 12-2 with a 1.69 ERA and 15.3 strikeouts per 9. His fastball is one of the best scouts have ever seen, and he complements it with a very sharp breaking slider. Skeens is projected to make an MLB debut as early as this coming season. From day one, he has the potential to be one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball. But, as we know, it's not where you get picked that matters. It's how you use the opportunity. Some first overall picks have proved themselves as Hall of Famers, and others have never made it. For Holliday, Skeens, and all the future number 1 overall picks, it's important to remember that this is just the first step.